Hello everyone, Super Goji here yet again with another figure review. Today we will be taking a look at the X-Plus 25cm Godzilla 2002. This guy appears in the fan favorite Godzilla vs Mechagodzilla and has been a well-received design since the film's release. Like, really well received. Growing up I was always more of a Showa fanboy, but over the years the later designs grew on me, including this one. It's edgy, sleek, and ferocious. The box, honestly, is not anything special. It just features black artwork of the figure and just isn't as nice as the colored boxes to me. This figure has had its major ups as well as its major downs, and it has become pretty split within the community due to the way Godzilla's head is sculpted. Many say it isn't accurate, and I have to agree, but I also have to say that some of you fans have extraordinarily high expectations because this is also an amazing figure in itself. That's a talk for another day, but seriously, you couldn't make a Godzilla fan happy if you tried. I believe the main issue here, honestly, is the eyes. They just seem a bit too large in a way, and almost cartoonish for this suit, and it just doesn't give off that edge that comes with the design at all. From some angles, he looks almost like a Muppet or like he has googly eyes or something. It's kind of fucking weird. People have also complained about his snout being sort of bent down or like smushed in, but our figure really didn't turn out that bad except for this minor paint chip on his tooth that's been driving me freaking insane. Speaking of the teeth, I think they could have also sharpened these up a bit. They're sculpted nice enough so they get a pass for me, but like, I know it isn't a Sakai, but I immediately think of the Sakai figure and the Sakai figures in general, and all of the teeth on those figures are really pointy, nice, and sharp. Could have really helped this figure out. While I'm complaining, I'll also nitpick and say that the neck seam bothers me just because that X-Plus has shown that they don't have to sculpt figures in this way. It really isn't bad, but it's certainly noticeable. This section is always my favorite for X-Plus figures because they're just so short and sweet. For articulation, this figure has absolutely none. Haha, you crazy kids and your fancy articulated figures just don't have the same appreciation as us vinyl connoisseurs. I will say the Shma is way more accurate than this thing though, I'll give it that. Like, way more accurate. Godzilla is painted charcoal gray throughout his entire body, and what really helps this figure stand out is this bluish dry brushing they use to highlight his body. It's typically the small things like this that can make or break a figure, and this guy checks off all the boxes for paint. The eyes are painted an almost gold color with a nice brown and then the black pupil. They are painted nice enough for me. For the teeth, they are painted the standard bonish Godzilla color of teeth. I really can't say anything too great or too negative. They are what they are. It's just Godzilla teeth. The inside of his mouth, as well as his tongue, are painted crimson red, which is always great. It does look nice in there. The tongue is also painted well. The finger and toenails are painted a darker color than the teeth, and they actually have a nice black gradient effect, which gives them some realism, like they're actually growing instead of just being kind of plain. It's almost as if these are actually growing out of his feet or his hands. The spines on this figure, thankfully, are amazing. Painted a nice slate that fades into a black that looks fantastic. These spines run from the top of his head to the end of his tail, but most of the spines are actually painted on his back. The spines on the top of the head as well as the back of the tail are just charcoal gray. The detail in this figure is absolutely nutty, and I was shocked with the amount of scales X-Plus is able to pack into this figure. While we are talking about detail, we have to discuss this head sculpt again just because it isn't accurate at all and looks fairly cartoonish. As I said earlier, I think the main issue here are the eyes. They just look off and they really throw off the design of the suit. Thankfully, this thing makes up for this inaccuracy with this insane amount of detailing that travels throughout all the figure. It's truly a fun one to just hold and feel because the texture is so crisp and sharp. His chest muscles look fantastic along with his neck frills. I love how it just flows down the body. I have heard people say that the pose is fairly static, and while I have to agree, I also don't have an issue with the way this guy is posed because he looks great no matter the angle. His sharp scales flow down his back onto his thighs and are honestly incredibly detailed in person. Both of his hands are sculpted very well as expected from X-Plus as well as his feet. He doesn't take up an enormous amount of shelf space with this more narrow stance, and that can be nice if you have crowded shelves like myself. Godzilla's tree bark-like skin is sculpted throughout the rest of his body, making for an excellent-looking overall Godzilla figure. For size comparison, here Godzilla is next to the 30cm Godzilla 2003, the Bandai 8-inch Space Godzilla, the 30cm Kiryu 2002, the 25cm Rick Godzilla 2019, and lastly, the Bandai Movie Monster Series Godzilla Jr. Fun fact: This came from Lewis's house. And that's pretty much a wrap for this review. While not having Sakai levels of accuracy, this figure more than makes up for it with its charcoal gray paint job and astounding levels of detail caked into every inch of the vinyl. He doesn't take up too much shelf space and is a fantastic representation of Godzilla from the film. Thank you everyone so much for watching this review. You aren't obligated, but if you enjoyed this video, the best way to support the channel is to give it a big old like, and if you want to see more content from me in the future, be sure to click that subscribe button as well. If you're more of a social media user, be sure to take a look at my Instagram, which will be in the link below, for some dope-ass images of my kaiju collection as well as my personal life. You guys are the best, and without you, these videos wouldn't even exist, so thank you again for the support, and I'd love to hear more from you guys in the comments, where you can suggest just about anything you'd like to see on the channel. Until next time, guys.